Hello, football fans. Welcome back to the Helmet to Helmet pod. I'm Stokes, joined by my constant co host, Deuce. This is episode 3. We're going to be going over the Thursday night game, Eagles, Vikings, some 0-1 teams potentially in trouble, and give our picks for lock and upset of the week. Deuce, how's it going?
Good. How are you? What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the Thursday night game?
Yeah, let's go into Thursday night game. Thursday night game, Eagles took the win 34-28 against the Vikings. What stood out to you, Deuce? Who did you like in that game?
Uh, I'm pretty sure we both picked the Eagles to win.
Yeah.
The Vikings, that defense looks absolutely horrendous. My biggest, uh, what stood out, I guess, is that the Eagles were able to run halfback dive 15 times in a row and score.
Yeah.
That is insane to do in the NFL. And the fact that they did that successfully, and they didn't get negative yards on one of those run plays. It wasn't like back and forth push. They were getting 4, 5, 6, 3, 5, 10 yards a pop.
Yeah.
And I just think, as a standpoint of just football, there's no way that you can let a team just literally push you, because that's blocking downfield, everything. Literally
Yeah.
just pushing you 90 yards downfield
Yeah.
for about 8 to 10 straight minutes.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift had 28 carries for 175 yards. Super tough wake up for anybody who sat him in fantasy. Something that stood out to me, and again, as a Dolphins fan who watched Brian Flores coach defense, he always had Miami's defense prepared. It looked to me like they were super unprepared. It looked like the Vikings just were not ready to play football that night. I'm sure Kirk Cousins was licking his chops at the opportunity to put up a bunch of garbage time stats. He somehow ended with 4 touchdowns and like almost 400 passing yards. Just a crazy game where he was constantly trailing 2 scores and had the chance to go out and throw for 80 yards on a drive and a score. Um, I thought the game looked the score looks a lot closer than I really thought it was. The first half was just super ugly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Um, but I mean, you look at the score and you think, oh, like one score, which reminding you again, the Vikings were 11 and 0 in one score games last year and are already 0 and 2 this year in one score games. Um, I thought the game felt way uh way less competitive than I think the score would make it seem.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like past halftime.
Yeah. A big standout to me through 2 games this season. I don't know if I'm super panicked. I think Jalen Hurts has just looked mediocre through 2 games this season. I don't think he's making a lot of throws. I don't think he's pushing the ball downfield, which in defense of him, you don't need to push the ball downfield. Patrick Mahomes last year, the best quarterback in the NFL, was in the bottom 10 in terms of average depth of target. But on this season on passes more than 15 yards downfield, he's 4 of 11 with a touchdown and a pick. Yesterday, it seemed like everything was right around the line of scrimmage. Uh, Again, I don't know if I'm concerned or not. The Eagles are 2-0 and wins in the NFL are like 25-pound bass. You don't throw them back, but I just, if I'm the Eagles, I don't feel like I look as good this year as I did last year. And I don't think Hurts looks as good as last year. I think that he just so far through 2 games has played like, an average NFL quarterback. He makes some plays, he doesn't make some plays. I still think he's very good, and I think he will be very good this year. But that's just something that caught my eye through the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and another thing, I think what happens when quarterbacks take that leap, whether it's year 2 or 3, is the reason that they're able to take that leap is a lot of teams, they'll just pack the box, force them to throw the ball, play a lot of man coverage, one high, and if you can't read the defense as well or be able to decipher man through zone, then it gets difficult. But usually when people take that jump is when they are able to surpass that and
Yeah.
be able to read defenses more effectively. So then what teams end up doing is they start playing more too high shells, which just means that they're trying to make sure no deep balls happen.
Yeah.
whether it's cover two, cover four, stuff like that. So I think that's what's happening now with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. A lot of teams are actually respecting the deep ball and respecting those explosive plays because I think there were I don't know if they were number one, but they were like top three in explosive plays last year. So I think defenses are trying to keep that cap on them
Yeah.
and make them throw everything short. And what I think happened in the game is that the Vikings were trying to throw a bunch of exotic stuff. And if you want to remind everyone, Brian Flores is their defensive
Yeah.
coordinator, known for a lot of exotic
Yeah.
defenses. And from Miami, it either works really well or it's absolutely terrible. It doesn't seem like there's any in between when you try to play defense that aggressive and that exotic. So the first game, I'll say they only let up 17 points. So I'd say that game plan worked. But against the Eagles, I think the Eagles did a very good job coaching wise of not trying to outsmart the other team because they were getting thrown all these exotic formations and the exotic coverages.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to find the perfect plays, perfect pass plays to try to force the ball downfield, as I said earlier, they just handed off the ball 1 and 2, halfback dive,
Yeah.
ran it all the way down the field.
Yeah.
They just made it super simple. They said we're not going to try to outsmart each other. Let's just run the ball. They want to have two because that's usually what happens if you have too high. That means there's one less in the box 90% of the time, so you hand it off.
Mhm.
So I think that's what they did. I think the Eagles just simplified the game plan because maybe it happened last week. I didn't look too much into last week. Maybe that Patriots are trying to throw a bunch of exotic stuff at them too to try to get them confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the Eagles they haven't played that good, but they're still winning games by
Yeah.
1 and 2 score, or I guess it's both one score games. But I think that's a good and bad thing because
Mhm.
sometimes when they don't get started or have a late start, they'll be able to bounce back and be able to still push through. But then there's probably going to be some times where they get that late start and aren't able to actually even get it started. So I don't know because it's good to win in different ways, but like you said, they haven't been playing well, but they're still getting the win, and you got to take the W's.
Yeah. On the quickly on the Eagles defensive side, I know we talked about a lot about the Eagles offensive game. I said it in the last episode. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. I said Jalen Carter. I thought Week 1 played like a man possessed. He is an incredible talent. Just the amount of plays he's able to consistently make is pretty astounding. And I thought yesterday he was just as disruptive. I thought less in the passing game, although he was still in the backfield plenty of times, but the amount of times he's forcing double teams already as a rookie and the amount of times he's in the backfield hitting the running back at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage. The Vikings were only able to get 28 yards rushing. I thought Alexander Madison had a very, very tough game. He could not get anything going, was dropping passes, could not get past the line of scrimmage. I think that Jalen Carter is just a beast. And if you're an Eagles fan, you've got to be happy he fell to you from a football standpoint. I think he's already looking to be one of the most dominant defensive tackles in the NFL, and he's played 2 games. The impact he has on the game is really just incredible. And when you're able to impact the game as a defensive tackle like that, it's pretty special. It's pretty special to watch. Um, I another thing.
Yeah, with the I was just gonna touch on the Vikings run game. My God, 28 yards.
Yeah.
We were talking last week about how bad the Chiefs run game was,
Mhm.
but 28 yards. Uh, I I personally don't think Kirk Cousins played terrible.
No.
It was I think if they scored with Justin Jefferson the touchback, I think if they scored that, it would have been a little bit more competitive. Maybe the Eagles run away with it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Um, everyone else, Kirk Cousins did fumble, but everyone else did fumble as well. 4 fumbles lost. You're not going to win games handing the ball or giving the ball to the other team 4 straight times. So,
Yeah, we've seen that on
but
Super
yeah,
Bowl with
the
the Bills.
yeah with the rushing though, that is a big eyesore. 28 yards. That's honestly like unacceptable. But
Yeah. Did
yeah,
did you see Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown getting into it too? AJ Brown was on witness protection yesterday. I mean, he any receiver not named Devontae Smith for the Eagles, it seemed like was not even getting looked at. And for those who didn't know, there was a clip going around of Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown getting into it on the sidelines. Um, I don't know. I think it
Needs his
looks
touches,
pretty.
man.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty bad if you're AJ Brown. I get it's frustrating when you're not getting the ball, but your team's 2-0, and despite you playing two very forgettable games, you're still winning games. But yeah, I found that to be found that to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's like Dwight Howard when he was asking for touches when he was on the Lakers. Um, it's different because I'd understand if you're down, we're getting whooped,
Yeah.
and I'm not giving you the ball when you're open. That's fine. But bro, like I said, we're running halfback dive. About 30% of plays, we're running halfback dive,
Yeah.
and you're screaming to get the ball. We're up 2 scores, bro. What? We're
Go throw a
winning.
block.
Why are we angry? Yeah, throw a block. And the thing is if you look at it, Jalen Hurts says, "Yo, bro, if you open, I got you." And then after the whole uh, conversation on the sideline,
Yeah.
you saw they gave 3 shots.
Yeah.
One got called back because somebody held. The second one he got pass interfered, and the third one was just like I think it was 3rd and 4. He gets the first down. Yeah, but I don't know how you can complain like that on the sideline up 2 scores. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you gotta be more of a team player in that situation. Like I said, if we're down, 100% understand. But if we're
Yeah.
up 2 scores, or I don't just take the win.
Yeah. In terms of milestone notes for anybody who likes statistics as much as I do, Justin Jefferson now eclipsed any Bears wide receiver in terms of career receiving yards already at I believe 24 years old. Obviously different eras are different eras, but I mean the he's had already two games over 100 yards each. Just the dominance he's had since coming into the league is pretty remarkable. Um, he's on pace for another crazy year through two games. Deuce, what do you think makes him so good? You know, from a football standpoint, he's not. I mean, he's tall, but he's not the biggest guy. I don't think he's the fastest guy, but he just always seems to be wide open. Always.
Yeah, I think part of it is nobody wants to play him man, which is very smart to do. So when you're not getting played man coverage or not getting played man against, however you say that, kind of butchered that. But basically, if you're not getting played man coverage, you're running in between the zones. So you're gonna be able to manipulate that with your stems and your breaks. But I think he's just really good at the catch point. A lot of receivers, I feel like, wait for the ball to come to them. Justin Jefferson always goes to get it. And what I mean by goes and gets it, I'm not just talking if it's a jump ball and he jumps first. I'm saying if he's running like a dig or something like that, he's not waiting for the ball to get to him. He's very quarterback friendly. He runs back to the quarterback, takes good quarterback angles, comes back to the ball, and is always you want to catch the ball extended. A lot of people like to catch it with their chest. You need to catch the ball extended, and if someone like a defender is trying to put their hands in it, you're able to rip it away. So I think that's like the main thing that I see is he's very good at the catch point. Like you say, he's not very fast. He's average height, 6', 6'1". I think he's very, very good at the catch point and able to get his hands on the ball first.
Now, switching gears a little bit, week one in the NFL is traditionally the most overreacted to week in all of sports. People love to declare Super Bowl winners and first overall draft picks after week one. However, week two, it's important not to go 0-2. Since the expanded playoff format, there's only been one team to make the playoffs after week two, and it was the Bengals last season after starting 0-2. They were the first team to ever make the playoffs starting 0-2. There are a lot of big name teams who lost week one. You'd think Bengals, Chiefs, Chargers, Giants, a lot of these teams that made the playoffs last year starting 0-1. Deuce, what 0-1 team do you think needs a win the most? I'm not even talking playoffs. I'm not talking avoiding 0-2. I'm saying from a overall team perspective, who do you think needs a win the most?
I think who needs to win the most is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I know I'm a fan, but I'm telling you, I've never seen a team more massacred on all platforms
Yeah.
of social media, radio, and television get slandered off of one game. I understand that we should have blown them out if Zach Wilson enters the game, but the slander that is being said in the last 4 days is astronomical. Uh, I don't believe we'll go 0-2. If we do go 0-2, I think whatever next home game there is, every single fan will have a paper bag over their head with the eyeball cutouts. Um, but I can't explain. And it's not even. I don't even think the Bills need to win that bad. Josh Allen needs to win that
Yeah.
bad because if Josh Allen goes 0-2, they might have him next to freaking Jamarcus Russell or what's his name? Is that his name? Jamarcus
Yeah.
Russell, that quarterback for the yeah. They might have him right next to him
Yeah.
because the slander is out of this world, man.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Allen just needs to remind people real quick that he's a top three quarterback in the league and just have a good game. And like I said, it needs to be a blowout.
Yeah.
We can't win by 3. That's not putting any dirt off of his name.
No.
40. Like I said earlier, I'm sticking to it. 40.
Yeah, Bills take on the Raiders this week. I'm actually gonna look in a different direction. Two teams I think need to play way better week one. I'm gonna start in New York. I'm gonna start with the New York Giants. I mean, my God, that week one game. I thought anybody paying to see that game should have been refunded. If you are a Giants fan walking into that building, you're thinking, my team won a playoff game last year. I can compete with some of the top teams in the NFC. I'm not even getting into the stacked AFC. I'm thinking I can compete with some of the top teams in the NFC. We got our doors blown off if you're a Giants fan. You got your doors blown off. 40-0. This is after a year in which we just signed Daniel Jones to, in my opinion, a questionable contract. I think you
Super
are paying
questionable.
I think you're paying Daniel Jones now. Obviously, the cap space or the NFL cap space, some people argue on whether or not it actually matters. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm saying you're paying Daniel Jones a lot of money for slightly above game manager gameplay. If you're a Giants fan, I'm sorry if we start 0-2, panic bells are going off all over the place. This is a
Versus
Versus
the
the
team.
worst
worst
team in
team
the
in the
NFL.
NFL.
Yeah, this is a team in which they played a very very manageable schedule last year. I thought they played really well. I thought Saquon looked incredible. I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. I think, especially after this contract, I think he's incredibly overpaid. But I'm going to go with the Giants. I think the Giants are a team that needs to win week two to avoid starting 0-2. If you're on the road against the Cardinals, who I don't even know if they're trying to win football games this season. I'm going to be honest. I do not know if they're trying to win football games. This is a game where you need to go in, take care of business, look better on offense, look better on defense, and win football games.
I think that the Cardinals need the Giants win more than Giants need to win because they want Caleb
Yeah,
Williams. They'll be mad if they walk in there and win,
yeah,
or actually go in Arizona, but they'll be mad if they freaking win that
yeah.
game.
Another team I thought was interesting was the Cincinnati Bengals. I think a lot of people are overreacting over week one. Yes, week one was a criminally bad game if you're the Bengals. But let's not forget the success this team has had ever since getting Joe Burrow. I think it's also a very important game for them. Ravens at home should be a very exciting matchup. If you're the Bengals and you come out and look that bad again, then I'm starting to panic. But if you come out and all things are normal and Jamar Chase takes slants to the end zone for 80 yards again every play, and the defense is good, I'm completely fine if I'm a Bengals fan. But I think it's a pretty important game. You start 0-2 to the
Divisional
to,
matchup too.
yeah, two divisional matchups. That is, that's a little concerning. Chiefs are another team. Chiefs at Jacksonville, very interesting matchup. Um, I think
Jags are winning.
I we in our pick'ems, go check them out in the last episode. Deuce and I went through and talked about who we think is going to win every game. We're going to keep track over the entire season and see who predicts better. I think the Chiefs are going to come out with their heads on fire. I think Kelsey's back. Andy Reid said today, barring some setback, Travis Kelsey will be playing. I like the Chiefs to roll. I think they are going to take an extended week after the Thursday night game they played. I think they are going to take a huge amount of anger.
Who's home?
Jacksonville. Chiefs on the road.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
I've got Chiefs
Jags.
rolling. Deuce has Jags winning that. I think that's another important win. Another team too, the Los Angeles Chargers. I think that's an important game at Tennessee. That's another game you have to win. If you're the Chargers, Austin Eckler just got ruled doubtful at the time of this recording. I'd imagine he's probably not playing. Um, you need to go in to Tennessee and take care of business. If you if you're
Especially with freaking Tannehill, bro. Tannehill's throwing up gifts,
yeah,
4 or 5 gifts a game.
if you don't go in at Tennessee and look good as a Charger team that played a very successful game on offense week 1 and just could not stop anything in the passing game, I think that's my last team that I think there's going to be a lot of lights on them. I think that a win is going to be very, very needed. Uh, Moving into our last segment, this is a new segment. I think it's going to be a pretty fun one. Before each Thursday or before each Sunday rather. Deuce and I are going to give one team that we think is a lock to win the game, and one team who is favored but maybe not looking so good for them. We're going to call it a pretty common segment, lock of the week and upset of the week. Why don't you start us off, Deuce? Your lock of the week.
My lock of the week is the Bills. I've been
Okay.
saying it all week.
You say it
40
with your
points.
chest, man. Say that with your chest.
40.
Yes.
40 points. I might tweet it. I might, or
Yep.
thread, or X, whatever you call it. I don't even know what's called this day. 40 points.
Okay.
I'd put a small fortune on the Bills winning
All right.
Sunday in Buffalo. Crowds rolling. Josh gets to sleep at home, wake up in his fucking own house. 40.
Okay. You heard it here first, everybody. Deuce thinks the Bills are winning by 40, and for the channel's sake and all the clickbaits and the memes we can get, I hope he's wrong. My lock of the week is the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think we talked about them a ton last episode. I think they are firmly, as of right now, in the Super Bowl contender category. I thought they looked fantastic against a Giants team who I think a lot of people are buying a lot of stock on. I like them to roll at home against the Jets. Zach Wilson's got a full week to prepare. I don't think it'll matter. Um, I like Cowboys
I
big.
could see it. I could see something shake. I really wanted to pick them as my upset when I was thinking about it
Jets.
earlier. But yes, it's just like I said, Zach Wilson, like you said, Zach Wilson, it's really, really hard
Yeah.
to look anybody in the face and say he's giving me 17 points. Because personally, that's what I think I need. Because I watched that film on the Bills versus Jets. That defense was actually insane.
Yeah.
Quinn Williams all night problems,
Yeah.
problems. Now I know that the Cowboys have a pretty solid O line, but even in the secondary, the way that they're disguising coverages
Yeah.
and uh, confusing Allen and all that,
Yeah.
I do feel like that they'll have a very very solid game plan. I think it's gonna be close. How about that? I won't say that they'll win. I think
Okay.
it's gonna be a competitive game. Like I said though, is the Cowboys do have a pretty similar defense, so
Yeah.
it's going to be different. That going against Dak Prescott, which will be like a kind of like give and take, which that versus Zach Wilson should look similar to the Giants game.
Right.
I don't think they're going to let Zach Wilson technically get into that position. As you saw with the Bills game, even though that was kind of a surprise, this time they do have a full week to prepare him. But all they told that man hand off the ball and freaking get the next call.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll be able to hand off the ball the entire game and still win. Even though versus the Bills, I mean the Bills have never been good at run defense, but versus the Bills they ran for like I think 180 yards, maybe more.
Yeah.
I don't think you can win running the ball the entire game, especially if the other team's scoring. Now, if the other team, if defense scores, maybe if the defense scores a touchdown, maybe I would say, yeah, they'd probably win that game if the defense got a defensive score, but it's just really hard to look anybody in the face and say that Zach Wilson's going to give me 17 plus. But I do think it's going to be a close game, closer than people think.
All right.
Whatever I don't know what it is, over, under, or
Yeah,
spread,
so the
hit
spread
that shit.
currently right now, according to BetMGM, the score or the spread right now is Cowboys -9. The over/under set
Oh
at
my
38
God.
and a half. Yeah.
Smashing the spread. I don't know about over under, but
Okay.
I think it's one score game. I think it's one score
All
game.
right. All right, yeah, so Deuce likes Bills by 40 and he likes Jets keeping it close. I personally like Cowboys roll. I'll give you the 9 points. I'll still take the Cowboys. Moving on to who we think might be in trouble, our upset watch. I've got the Detroit Lions, actually. I've got them at home versus the Seahawks. I don't know. I don't think now it was against the Chiefs. I don't think the Lions looked that great week 1. I thought their defense looked good, but I thought their offense, who a lot of people liked last year as a really developing and solid offense, some people had them top 10 7 offense in the NFL. I thought they looked mediocre. Is that the Chiefs defense improving? I don't know, but I don't trust Jared Goff a ton. I think the Seahawks got rocked week 1. I still think they're okay. Listeners know Deuce loves the Seahawks. Deuce is big on their train. Uh, I like the
I might
Seahawks
hop
to
off after this week.
yeah. I like the Seahawks to either cover or keep it close, or win the game rather. Um, I I don't know. I'm just not sold on the Detroit Lions. So I like the Seahawks on my upset watch over the Lions.
Yeah. Um. I I picked the Lions to win this game, but I definitely do think it's going to be close. I feel like the teams are in like similar situations where they were really bad 2 years ago, showed significant improvement last year, and one made the playoffs, one didn't, but they had about the same record. And now people have higher expectations for them to take that next step. So I do think they're in similar positions. Me personally, I picked the Lions to win, but I
Yeah.
can see it being close and competitive. For my upset, are the Chiefs favored?
Yeah. Yeah. Chiefs are favored at Jacksonville.
Okay, so my like normal, regular, like on paper upset, I'll have the Jags versus the Chiefs. I think the Jags played very good until the fourth quarter last year, and they still had a couple chances to win. I don't think the Chiefs did anything special that at least had me thinking they're levels ahead of the Jags.
Yeah.
I think they played them very good. Now they have an extra weapon in Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley debut pretty solid, over 100 yards, 10 catches.
Yeah. Very good.
I I think they're gonna have a real good game plan for them at home. If Kelsey plays, I do think it'll be close. I think it'll be more of a shootout. I'd say like a 35-31 finish. But I think Jags take it.
Okay.
They did look a little shaky versus the Colts. They didn't really put them away when they could have.
Yeah.
Kind of let them hang in there. But I don't know. I like the revenge game. I think they got a little chip on their shoulder.
Okay.
Obviously, Mahomes losing is scary as well. But I have the Jags, and my other one just a little back burner is I got the Finns losing because I
Okay.
think the Patriots are gonna throw a little something at Tua.
Okay.
Defensive touchdown. I think they'll win. I like how Mac Jones played, and you said Phillips might not even be playing, so that might just
Yeah. Uh,
cement my upset even more.
yeah, Jalen Phillips, for Dolphins fans, little bad news. This is today, Friday the 15th. Actually injured his back at practice and his diagnosis questionable. But more importantly, and better news for the Dolphins, Teron Armstead looks like he's going to play. Um, for an offensive line who surprised me week one. On paper, the Dolphins' offensive line was the weakest link on the team, bar none, especially without Armstead. They came and had against Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, did not allow a single sack to the Chargers week one. They were consistently graded as an average NFL offensive line. And I'm sorry, if the offensive line for the Dolphins plays average the entire season, they're going to be a very unstoppable offense. Consistently, year in and year out in the Tua Tagovailoa era, the offensive line has been bottom five in the NFL, bar none, by any metric you grade it. If they play at an average NFL rate, their offense is going to be virtually unstoppable. So I love the Dolphins' offensive line right now as is. If Teron plays, obviously they're going to be better. Teron Armstead's a top seven left tackle in the NFL. Um, I loved the way their O line looked. Now the Patriots defense has presents very many challenges for the Dolphins to overcome. Maybe it's a little bias. I like them to roll, as I mentioned last time. Tua Tagovailoa is 4-0 against Bill Belichick. If he wins, here's a little your special stat of the day, Deuce. If he wins and moves to 5-0, he'll have the most wins without a loss all time by any quarterback against Belichick. That's what he's playing for Sunday. Um, I like them to win. I think that I don't think they're going to come out and look like they did week one on offense, but I do like their defense to play a little better. Um, I like Mac Jones to throw a big pick in the
Can
first
only be
half.
better.
Yeah, you're right. You can only go up from there. Um, so I like Dolphins. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a close game. But I do still have Miami winning. Got anything else, Deuce? I think that wraps it up for episode 3. Um,
Oh yeah, I like that.
keep an eye out
I'm
on
cool on
social
that.
media. We're gonna have some YouTube videos up at the HTH Pod. Follow us on Instagram at the HTH Pod. Tune in next week. We're gonna have recap of week 2. We're gonna have preview of Thursday night next week. Yeah,
We might have a giveaway.
yeah. Stay tuned. Look on the HTH Pod Instagram. We're gonna have a giveaway coming soon. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, give us a rating, leave some comments, let us know how we do, what we can do better. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.